built this entire homestead for about $50,000, which might sound like a lot. And 50,000 bucks is a lot of money, but it's not 250,000 or 450,000 like the average house these days. The cabin cost about $13,000, and when I moved off grid, I only had $6,000. Pros and cons of living off grid. Well, pro, I'm in the middle of absolutely nowhere. I love being in the middle of absolutely nowhere. It's nice. It's pretty quiet. There's wildlife. I don't need to deal with so much city crap. It's a little slower. You know what I mean? If you want to go buy a house, it's going to be well over $100K at least. So, I mean, the cost is hugely better. 50 grand to have a fully functioning homestead. Granted, it's frugal, you know. This isn't, we're not balling out of control or nothing. But, you know, starting from nothing, I think we're coming along pretty well. Not only the initial cost of everything, owning it in full and not having to pay mortgage or rent or lease or anything like that, that's a huge bill going out. Imagine if you didn't have to pay mortgage or rent or anything like that. Really, I don't even have utilities. Let's see, I haul some water, and that costs about a penny a gallon. Oh, and then I have Starlink internet and a cell phone. So that's a pro too, I guess, not having very many utilities. Cons of living off grid in the middle of nowhere. I live off grid in the middle of nowhere. It's a con as well as a pro. Just if you break down and whatnot, you're kind of on your own, you know. You're way off grid, so you got to be prepared for that. I think it could be a pro and a con, really. Water, you know. Right out the gate, when you buy a house in the city, you got water. Out here, you have to haul water and rain harvest. I'd say about half and half is where all my water comes from. It's pretty good. I mean, I've got tens of thousands of gallons. It's just fine, just like having water in the city. And the truth is you see, the biggest concern would be, well, what if one day you can't haul any more water? Well, you got the same concern in the city. Water lines could break and whatnot. A bomb could drop, whatever. And you'd be in pretty well the same scenario. So that's the biggest con about it, is it's good to just have your own water on your own land. So building a huge rain harvesting system or drilling a well would be pretty ideal. If you're new to the channel, I do harvest tens of thousands of gallons of rainwater, and then I haul probably tens of thousands of gallons of water. But together I have plenty of water for the horses, the pigs, myself, the gardens. And definitely a well is an option down the road. And if I was to expand my rain harvesting system to be able to harvest and store 40,000 gallons of water, well, that'd be about a 3-year supply. And so I should never run out if I had a system that large. I just wanted to give you guys some pros and cons right out the gate, because I figured that would kind of satisfy some people that wanted that. And otherwise, I kind of want to just show you around a little bit. I built this aquaponic system out of an old trailer bed, and I just lined it with a billboard tarp. I just inspected it for holes before I threw it in there. It's been here for years, and I cycled the water after a couple months, and I threw some stuff in it like mint that wasn't, you know, it didn't need a lot of nutrients. Recently, I added a tomato plant, and the reason why is I finally got bluegill and tossed them in down here. Oh, there's some plants in here too that were sent in, so that's helpful. And I guess the fish are all hiding right now. That is the first time ever that I haven't gotten them to come out for food, so I finally reached their max capacity, which was about 10 pellets this morning. Normally I give them 5 or 6 pellets and they wipe it out. But anyway, there's about 20 bluegill in there, and now they're putting nutrients. I'm feeding them. They're putting nutrients back into the water. Now I can grow larger stuff. It's been about 97 degrees the last few days, so things don't look super happy in here. But there are a lot of squash. There's alfalfa. Onions coming to seed. There's even some new sprouts coming up. Whatever they are, maybe tomatoes or something. God, there's a lot of those. I think those might be tomatoes. That's good. Got potatoes and more squash, and there's some beans over here. Lots of beans over here. And then we've got some different types of melons and the red raspberry tree. The entire reason I make this video is just to help people out, to see, because, you know, I was laid off in 2020, had no money, had nowhere to live really, and I had to do something quick, and I found and bought a cheap piece of land that people considered less than desirable, and I worked really hard to make it something that's more valuable, that will fulfill my needs. And you know, I bought the land at the time for less than a couple $1,000s. I only had $6,000 when I came out here. Came out here with a camper van and some tanks for water, and everything else has just come along the way. So it was just bare desert out here, and now I've got a nice little homestead. I'm able to grow more fruit and vegetables than I ever ate in my life, and a lot of my meat right here on the homestead. I'm rebuilding this farm truck. I just got some sandblasters and an engine stand, so I can, once I get the engine back from the machinist, I'll rebuild the entire engine and I'll sandblast different parts and we'll paint them orange the way they were when they were shipped. I've been out here over 5 years, and no one has ever come down the road that wasn't supposed to be there. There's a couple cattle farmers, you know. Not too long ago, a neighbor moved into the area down the way, and I talked to them yesterday, and it turns out that they could use some solar power and some fencing. So over here, I've got a really nice DJI power station here. I use this all the time. This is not sponsored. These are just, I've just had these for a long time. And then this is the bigger one. Oh, damn. So this one's twice as big. And I've used a station this size to run my entire homestead when I needed to. So I'm going to take that to the neighbor. And then I've got a nice, this is a 400 watt solar panel that can be split in half. So two 200 watt panels, and it has an MPPT charge controller built into it. So it can be used, it's more useful than one that doesn't have that. And then I got some fencing over there, and I'm going to give them those things just to kind of help them out, because I don't need it. Oh, hey, and if you want help on your homestead, I have a free guide. It's the ultimate guide to off-grid living, and it's over on my website. It's free. So my main focus has always been food, water, shelter. Like, this is a survival situation. I took it really serious when I came out here that I could fail, but I figured, hey, at least I'll, you know, I was homeless in a camper van. At least I'll be homeless on a piece of land I own, you know. But then I put a lot of work into it, you know. I always kept a clean place, unless I'm in construction. Like, you know, I got concrete over here for my stove, but, you know, I keep the homestead real nice and clean and organized, respectful, and food, water, shelter. So I've got the greenhouses, the gardens, the storage, the cabin, the shed. You know, I'm harvesting thousands of gallons off the land. There's cisterns with the rain harvesting system. So there's a 3,600 gallon cistern underground next to each one of these roof surfaces. That's kind of, you know, that's the way I went about starting my homestead. And like I said, there's a free ultimate guide that'll tell you all of it for free on my website. And then, of course, then people are like, okay, you got food, water, and shelter, but you need money. How did you start? How did you get money? I had no job or anything, just that $6,000 when I came out here. But I knew I wanted to start a company, and I was frugal, and I was off-grid. And so, frugal off-grid. And it started with the health. You know, there was things, I was really obese when I moved off grid, and I wanted to be healthier, and I read about herbal teas and tonics and natural things like that, and those were my first products, and they've always done really well because I'm passionate about them, and they really work, and there's good reviews about them. And then as I started to have experience, I wrote some ebooks, and I did courses and a webinar. And I just slowly, you know, created as much value as I could for other people, including free stuff for value. And what happens is you help people, you know, they're like, wow, that was really nice that he put everything I needed in one place, made it easy for me to find. And then they kind of start to watch your content and visit your website and help support you building a homestead. You'll probably be blinded by the sun back here, but so that's it pretty much, guys. I just wanted to share with you, you know, you can get yourself in a real tight spot, you know, save some money, buy some land, start a homestead, piece it together a little bit at a time. Don't worry about what anybody thinks. You don't need to be keeping up with the Joneses. And over time, you'll start with no money and you'll start to build a little bit more money, not having to pay rent and mortgage like you do in the city. And you know, if you're responsible with that and budget it and build the infrastructure correctly, you'll have all your needs met and things will just get better from there.